Hello friends, and welcome back to the Dork Side. I'm the Dork in the Road, and this is my review of the ToGoPower Advance 240 power station and the ToGoPower Advance 60-watt solar panel. I'm the Dork in the Road, and I want to be your internet riding buddy, so please consider subscribing. Today's video is sponsored by ToGoPower, and they sent me this power station and this solar panel and asked me to do a comprehensive overview and review for you from the perspective of motorcycle camping. And so I've spent the last 3 weeks testing this power station, testing this solar panel. I've had this power station out on 3 different camping trips now. I just spent the whole day with the solar panel strapped to my bike, trying different configurations. I've used it at home. And so I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what these things can do and how they'll work for you if you're trying to use it motorcycle camping as well as just camping in general. Let's start with the power station. The ToGoPower Advance 240 power station is $220. That's the regular price. You can often find it on sale, or if you want to cut to the chase, you can save 15% on their website with the link below with promo code Dork in the Road. It is a 231 watt hour, which is 10.4 amp hours or 22.2 volts, lithium ion battery pack. It weighs 6 pounds. It has multiple options for charging up the battery pack, including solar, 12 volt, or an outlet at home. It has 2 lights. There is a flashlight on the front and a light in the handle that's a little bit wider. It gives you a little bit broader illumination. And you can charge this thing via a myriad of sources, like I mentioned, in 4 to 6 hours. It has 2 USB-A charging ports, 1 USB-C, 1 12 volt, and a 110 socket with a ground, so a 3-prong plug. Those are the features of the unit. Let me tell you a little bit about what I liked about it in my time using it. One, I find the display on the front incredibly useful. It's really very nice. You plug in a device, no matter what it is, your phone or your fan or whatever that you're trying to charge, and it will tell you how much draw that device is pulling out of the battery and how long the battery will last at that level of draw. So it's really nice to know that if you're going to run a fan or a CPAP or something all night, you're going to get through the night easily. You get an estimate of how many hours it's going to last. And likewise, it does the same when you're charging it via the solar panel or whatever. You can see how long it's going to take to charge on that screen based on the amount of power that's coming in. One thing that was surprising to me that I didn't think I would care about or use is the light in the handle. So I've spent several nights camping with this thing now, and I've been using the light in the handle as sort of a campsite lantern near the campfire, and also to light up the inside of my tent. And it is very usable amount of light, and it seems to draw almost no power from the battery pack. It's an LED, it's a big battery, that makes sense, but it's just something that I really thought was a feature that wouldn't be useful to me, and it turns out it's incredibly useful. It's one of my favorite things, to always have that sort of handy light source that you know is going to kind of last forever. And it can cut down on something in your moto camping kit. Some other lamp specifically for the inside of your tent, or like an electric lantern, you don't need that with this. That handle light will do the job. It has a huge charging capacity. It ought to, because it's pretty big, but just as an example, I charge a lot of stuff. I charge my phone, I charge my cameras, I charge my drone, I run the light all the time, and I'm constantly charging and using battery power. And even at that, I have not exceeded 33% usage in an overnight yet. So I can easily get, at my higher rate of usage, 3 nights out of this battery pack. If you're a more average user, you might be able to get 4 or 5 days. And if you're charging on the go as you go with, say, the solar panel, this thing could last you indefinitely. And it also charges things really fast. Like, the construction's very solid, feels very sturdy. The first thing I noticed when I took it out of the box was, holy crap, this thing feels solid. I've been impressed with the build quality. I've dropped it a few times, kicked it around a little bit, had it in and out of my pannier. I actually left it on the shelf in my trailer when I drove 2 hours, and it didn't move or fall owing to the sturdiness and the weight and also the rubber feet on the bottom. So that was pretty impressive. So overall build quality, you take it out of the box, I was instantly impressed. The coolest thing in terms of moto camping perspective is that it fits in my 21-liter pannier here on the KLR 650. That's not a big pannier, and it fits like face up, and it fits like with the bottom down in there both ways. And the reason it fits is because it has this handle. So I have a Jackery and it's fine, but the Jackery handle is permanent, it's attached, and so that thing is always very tall. This thing, the handle folds down, so it fits in a pannier, it's more compact. I think that makes it better for moto camping. And with the flat top surface here, you got yourself a little makeshift table. You could easily put my Jetboil on here if I wanted to. you know, set your beverage on it, whatever it is. But you know, when you're out camping off your motorcycle, especially if you're dispersed camping where there isn't a picnic table, flat spaces that are off the ground are at a premium. And so this handle that folds down is another silly, simple feature that I got a ton of use out of, that I really like about this particular power pack. It's been great for me moto camping, and it's been really, really good in my trailer setup. For what I've done in my trailer for multi-night trips, whatever, very happy with this. It's totally fulfilled my charging needs, and I would be very comfortable running a fan or something all night off of it in the summer when it gets hot, because I can't sleep if it's super, super hot. So I've got to have something like that. So if I'm gonna run a fan, I need something to power it with, and I feel really good about this Advance 240. So those are the pros. Here are the cons, at least from my perspective. There's two obvious ones. It's heavy, it weighs 6 pounds, and it's big. It's bigger than some of the other battery pack options out there. So if you're only going out on overnighters, you know, there are other options that might work for you. You can buy smaller battery packs, or if you don't charge as much stuff as I do, there are smaller, cheaper, lighter options out there. But for multi-day trips, for someone who charges a lot of stuff like me and has room in their panniers, it's a slam dunk. I'm gonna use this thing a ton. As long as you have space, it's a super handy thing to have if you're doing a lot of charging. And you know, camping evolves. We all want to charge our GPSs and phones and drones and everything, and so it's nice to have reliable power, and it's nice to have more power than you think you're going to need. I'd much rather come home with 40% in the battery than be scraping by trying to keep everything charged with a smaller battery pack. One place it could really shine is if you're running a base camp setup. So if you're riding out to a place and setting up and leaving your stuff set up, and then just coming back to charge but not having all your stuff on your bike, it'd be really, really great for that, for a multi-day trip, 4 or 5 days, easy. And if you combine it with the solar panel here, it can be charging at base camp the whole time, and you come back to a full battery every day. So really good for a situation like that. And only really you can decide if you need charging enough to justify carrying a bigger, heavier battery pack like this. But I like it, I think it's useful, and I will use it as a moto camper. I also have been testing and reviewing this advanced 60-watt solar panel, so let me tell you a little bit about it. Regular price on this solar panel is $160. It's compatible with multiple power stations, including ones made by other companies. It has these cool fold-out legs that allow you to stand it up and point it at the sun. This is a monocrystalline panel, which supposedly has a higher conversion efficiency than some of the other panels on the market. Not only will it charge your battery pack, but can also charge your devices directly. There are 2 built-in USB ports on the back that you can plug your devices specifically into. So if you just want on-the-go solar charging but don't want a battery pack, you can just buy this and plug right into it with your cables and keep your stuff charged up, as long as there's sun. This thing weighs 7.6 pounds, so it's not light, and it folds up to 20.4 by 16 inches. So it's not small. This is the smaller one, but it's not a compact solar panel. I've had it on the back of this bike. It's not even as wide as the back of the bike, so it's totally doable on a motorcycle, but it's definitely a little bit bulky and unwieldy, so just know that going in. The panel here on the front is waterproof. I kind of tested that today because I had it on the bike with it tucked underneath, so I was definitely kicking up some mud and water on these crappy roads today on the bottom. But this front is totally waterproof. The only thing that isn't waterproof on it is inside this bag there's a box that's like your power converter where you plug in your USB cables and stuff. This can't get immersed or submerged, but I think if you had it like this and had it in the sun and that stayed dry and off the ground, you'd probably be okay in a pretty rainy situation. That would be my guess. So it's pretty water resistant, but it's not waterproof by any means. The pros of this 60-watt solar panel, what do I like about it? One, I was very impressed with how sturdy the design is. You expect some electronics like this to be, I don't know, flimsy or temperamental or like something you got to really take care of, but this is sturdy. This feels like hard plastic. I did not feel bad at all with it facing down on the back of this motorcycle where the exhaust could kick up, where mud and stuff was kicking up. It did just fine, and it's a sort of really hard plasticky surface that I would feel comfortable just wiping off with soap and water or whatever if I had to. As far as ruggedness, I would feel very comfortable taking this on some rough terrain, knowing that I was going to drop my bike. I wouldn't want to drop my bike on it, but dropping my bike with it on top, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't worry about it getting dusty or even wet, really. So sturdy construction. This is thick, ballistic-ish nylon. This thing feels good. Feels like it's going to stand up to whatever you can throw at it. And on a motorcycle, we throw a lot at it because it's outside and exposed to the weather. It's not like being in a car or an RV where it's protected all the time. It's got to be on the outside. It's got to be able to stand up to that. And I really feel like this solar panel will do that. Seriously, once you get your hands on it, you'll see what I mean. The folding design is really cool. And one really, really cool thing about it is this big yellow spots here. These are magnets. And so when you close that thing up, bam, it closes up quickly and securely. And it takes a little effort to pull them apart. So I feel really good about that storage setup. The magnets are really neat, sturdy. Again, just good build quality. It just feels solid. This pouch on the back has plenty of room for all the cables that come with it, as well as the other cables you need to make it work with other types of battery packs, not just theirs. And here's the junction box in here, but this little pouch opens up all the way like this, so it's really easy to get into. And ample storage. You could throw a couple other things in there if you needed to pretty easily. Check out the magnets. Pretty solid. This thing charges this battery pack incredibly quickly. It says it'll charge it in 4 to 6 hours, and in direct sunlight facing south, I believe it, based on what I've seen. The flip side to that, getting into the cons, is that on a day like today, you get almost no charge. Just bear that in mind. You need full sun to get a good charge out of it. That's true of any solar panel, but just don't expect it to work miracles. Buy the thing and then be disappointed when, you know, it's not charging and it's dark outside or whatever. The other big con is an obvious one, but it's big. I mean, it's just unwieldy on a motorcycle. It's not impossible. I folded it in half and got it to work. You might even be able to go over the top sideways if you're really trying to maximize the solar panel. Basically, for storing it while traveling, it folds up small enough that it's manageable. If you want to use it to charge while you're riding, that's possible, but you're going to have to really give it some thought, put it over the top of your panniers or something like that. You're going to want both panels to get a decent charge. I did experiment today with running the cable off of this down into my bag where the power station was, and I was able to make that setup work. Like I said, I just didn't get much of a charge because it's not a very nice day. But you could theoretically charge your power pack while riding around if you were on a long trip with a little bit of engineering and ingenuity. People are shooting out here in the woods. They're not as close as they sound, but that's the popping you're hearing. Will it work for motorcycle camping? I mean, I've kind of covered it there. Yes, if you're willing to deal with the fact that it's big. It doesn't get small. It's 2 feet across at its smallest. I think it'd be great for, again, for a base camping situation. Put all your stuff on your bike, you ride out to a place on the road or whatever on a highway, set up, and then leave all your stuff there while you're riding out and doing day trips from there. This would be great. Leave it set up, plugged into your power pack, come back to a full battery pack every day. That would be ideal for something like this. If you're doing like a BDR where you're working hard every day, you know, in and out of trees and, you know, it's hard terrain, whatever, long trip, I don't know if you want this strapped to the top of your pack. But for a base camping situation, something like that, the solar panel would be great, and it's not impossible to make it work on your motorcycle, which is what you might think. You might be like, well, there's no way that'd work. I think you could make it work. It's just gonna take, like I said, some ingenuity and some engineering. Overall impressions of the setup, I'm gonna use the crap out of this Advance 240 on my future camping trips. I'm gonna use this solar panel occasionally, like if it were a base camping situation. That's moto camping wise. In terms of camping out of my enclosed trailer, my toy hauler and riding from it, I'm going to use it all the time. Every trip I will set this thing up to charge this while I'm out riding or camping during the day. Incredibly useful for a setup like that, for RV camping, for car camping, something like that, where you've got the space. These things are not big, they're not heavy, they're totally usable and doable, easy to pack, and I would recommend them. So in terms of build quality and functionality, they both work great. I've been very impressed with them. Thank you very much to ToGoPower for sending them to me and for giving me the opportunity to test and review them and to share with all of you. I will put links to both of these products and the combination. You can buy them in a combo pack in the description below on ToGoPower's website. Don't forget that if you buy anything from ToGoPower's website and use promo code Dork in the road, all one word, you will save 15%. So that's not nothing. So if you do decide to pick up one of these, please use that code, save yourself some money. If you have any questions about either product, leave them in the comments. I'd be happy to answer them. If you've ever used one of these products, let me know in the comments. Let the other people know how you felt about them. But I've been impressed with these. I would recommend them, and I think you should check them out if you're in the market for something like this. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you, and please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.
Excellent!
Their shooting's messing up my shooting. Stop shooting. I'm shooting.